Hi everyone, this is Carrie, and in this video I am sharing a mistake that I made recently and how I was able to see the mistake and correct the mistake. My relationship with mistakes in the past has been to be really hard on myself. I have come to realize, though, that mistakes can be changed. It doesn't mean that it's me. It doesn't mean that I'm going to continue to do it. It just means that I have to make the decision to change and come up with solutions for the next time that a similar situation comes up, that I have a plan in place for how I'm going to handle it. So to give a little bit of context, I've been kind of confined to the house. In general, I like going out with my friends. I like being out at night. I like being out around a lot of people. I like dancing. And it had been a few weeks since I had been able to do this, plus add to the point that I had been completely confined to the house. I was like coming out of my skin. And this built and this built and this built until one night when I just really wanted to get out of the house and the family didn't want to go. And that's another thing is I've been working on some personal process points with actually going out and all the things that happen when I'm out. And I've been wanting to focus more on the family than external activities that are high energy. Anyway, so I have been focused on the family, providing this social interaction for me that I would generally get outside of the home and with my friends and in bar environments and clubs. So I had gotten to this point of frustration when the family didn't want to go out and do anything one evening. And I went into my mind about the whole thing and was processing it there. And I just became incredibly frustrated, and I saw myself as like a prisoner to the family and to being married. Because one of the first things I tend to do when I process things in my mind is that I try to find someone else to blame. And they're the closest ones to me, so I immediately placed blame in the family situation. Like, it's all their fault, you know. It's because of the family that I can't go out and do what I want to do. It's because I'm married that I can't go out with my friends and just cut loose and, you know, not worry about what's happening in the bar or the club or who's coming up to me and, you know, the whole bar scene. So that was the first point. And interesting though, I did have a level of awareness to ask myself in that moment, why am I so frustrated about this? It really shouldn't be that difficult to commit myself to this family, to be here, to do what needs to be done. Why do I need to be, you know, going out with my friends and all of this? I didn't understand why I had to be this way. So an interesting thing happens when you ask questions, you get answers. And one of the things that came up for me was a memory of being a child and being confined to the house and having my parents decide what I could do, what I couldn't do. And from that memory, instead of going to the writing or the self-forgiveness, even in the moment, self-forgiving, sounding it out inside myself, I didn't do that. I went into, well, I was powerless then. There's really nothing I could really do about it with my parents. But now that I'm an adult, I'm still in the same situation. So my mind completely latched onto that. Completely latched onto the belief or idea that it's not fair. It's not right. And from that point of not seeing it as fair or right, or that it shouldn't be, I was like, well, how can I let them know how unhappy I am about this whole thing? So I worked out this scenario in my mind of how I was going to behave. And I started behaving completely irrationally. I started pacing around and acting like a caged bird. And of course, then the family gets worried. And, I'm not really talking about it. And, the husband, the usual wanting to fix things is like, geez, I'm really worried. Like, what's going on with you? And then from there, I just steamrolled. When I tried to express what was going on with me and I didn't understand it, I couldn't properly communicate it to him, and then he reacted, and then I reacted to his reacting. It was a completely screwed up situation, and it is a point of self-sabotage in the relationship and the family dynamic, and it was intentional. All because I decided to not take responsibility. All because in a moment when I could have made the decision to take responsibility, I went into what benefits me the most. And you know what? It didn't benefit me at all. It got me nowhere. The same situation, the same problems we've been having for years. So I did eventually end up writing it out and seeing the pattern. And when I saw the pattern, I could change it. Obviously, it happened after. So, there's really not much else I could do about the situation. But what I could do is be aware of it the next time it came up. Be aware of the exact things that are going on in my mind and what I'm drawn to and what I'm not interested in, because it's going to take a little work on my end. So, when a similar situation came up a couple days later, I saw the same patterns playing out in my mind. The voices in your head. The ones we tend to believe, or it sounds good, or it sounds better than taking responsibility, and attempting to pin it on someone else for them to take responsibility. So I saw these things playing out when I was in communication with my partner. And I just made the decision to not go into it. I knew where it was going to lead. I knew that it was going to sabotage the whole point of what we were communicating about. Also, when I was able to do that, to just not go into it, I established a trust with myself that whatever came up in that moment that I hadn't come to terms with, that I would, when the discussion was over, when we were done communicating, that I would go and sort it out and take responsibility for it. It's that simple. And what ends up happening is that we actually had a really cool discussion, which led to further, cool discussions. And there wasn't that whole reaction pattern, because you know that when you react, and that when you haven't handled yourself in a way that benefits everyone, that only benefits you, you know. For me, every time I do that bullshit, it comes back, and then it's like I experience guilt. And when you experience guilt, you know you didn't move yourself in a way that's best, or that works for everyone. So, that's what I have to share for today, and that's some realizations that I've had, and see that it's actually a really easy fix, and that it's all about a decision to not go into it, and to sort it out, and to take responsibility for yourself. Thanks.